Hey there and welcome back. Today we are doing a summer barbecue or a summer party makeup look. It's super bronzed, glowy, dewy. We're using a lot of like cream products on the eyes, and then the skin is just really like bronzed and really airbrushed and looks its best, and there's a lot of highlight as well to really highlight all your best features. It's a pretty easy look and is actually like a little bit less makeup than some of my other looks. It is really, again, perfect for any sort of a summer barbecue party, especially if you're going to be outside. Everything's super blended in and in a way that will make it look like you're not wearing a ton of makeup when you're outside. So if you want to achieve this summer barbecue party look, please keep on watching. So getting right into the makeup, I've already prepped my eyes with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion and my face with the Estee Edit Pore Vanishing Stick. I'm going to be taking two like cream eyeshadows. The first is the Sephora Colorful Shadow Liner in Shimmer. It's just like a nice champagne color, and I'm going to run that across like basically the inner half of my eye, just kind of scribble that across the eye, and actually even a little bit towards the outer corner, but basically in the first half of my eye. And we're just going to create basically like a nice ombre. I'm just going to kind of pat that in and slightly rub that with my finger. This is kind of the easiest way to just kind of diffuse it. You can use a brush as well, but this is kind of just the easiest to really get it to blend into the skin, because we really want this look to look really just shimmery and dewy, but you really want it to, the makeup to all melt into the skin and you know, even though you have makeup on, almost look like there's nothing there. You could build a little bit if you need a little bit more intensity. Just kind of pat that in. And then for the outer half of the eye, I'm going to be using a Longwear eyeshadow stick called Batter Up. This is kind of a cool brand. It has all different like baseball puns for its names. I'm just going to kind of scribble that on the outer half of the eye. And just really keep it to that kind of below the brow bone and really just on that outer half. And then you can use your same finger or a different finger and just kind of pat that in and start working that in and blending that in. And it really just creates this nice, really natural ombre effect. And I will be doing a tutorial coming up, all just using fingers and a beauty blender and using just that to do your makeup, inspired by the fact that on Saturday I got into work and realized I had absolutely none of my makeup brushes with me. So thank God my boyfriend brought them in for me. But I really only got them with like 10 minutes to air, so I only really got to do like a few things with them. So I did almost all of my makeup with just fingers and a beauty blender. It was quite interesting. All right, I'm just going to wipe my finger off here. So now that we've got that on the eyes, I'm just going to do a little bit of eyeshadow. First, I'm going to go into my waterline with the Master Khol Maybelline eyeliner, and I believe it's dark brown, midnight brown. I'm just going to do my waterline first. Then on my top line, I'm going to use, I believe I used this in my last video, the Beauty for Real Eyeline 24 Liner in Chocolate Fix. And just kind of draw like a messy line on my top lid. So we're going to slightly smudge this out. I'm then going to go in with the Sigma E65 small angled brush and just slightly smudge that out. You don't want to go too crazy, but just slightly diffuse it, just so you have a little bit of a softer effect. And before I go in and do my face, I'm just going to put a little bit of a white shadow with a Sigma E30 pencil brush just on my, to highlight my brow bone. You should really have enough highlight up there already, but especially if some of your browns started getting a little high, this will just give a little bit of extra highlight. Alright, so moving on to the face, I'm going to use the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte 104 just because I have oily skin, but you can use whatever. I would prefer probably a light to medium coverage for this look on your face, even though this one is a little bit more full coverage. I'm just going to dot that across the skin and start working that in. You can even use a BB cream or a CC cream. I'm just going to be on air today as well, so I'm using a little bit more of a full coverage foundation, but really for this look you probably don't even need it. And then for concealer, you want something really lightweight that's just going to slightly brighten up the center of the face. I'm going to use the Revlon Photo Ready Concealer in the color 01 Fair, and just on the places that I normally highlight. You know, underneath the eyes, on the forehead, down the center of the nose, Cupid's bow, on the chin and a little bit in the smile lines. And I am going to use just a tiny bit of Bye Bye Undereye right under my eyes just because I do get a little bit of creasing and I have a little bit more darkness there. But on the rest of the skin, definitely you want very, very sheer highlighting because you want it just to look really natural and bright. Okay, you don't need to go super crazy on powdering everything down, but I would definitely at least set your under eyes in the places you've highlighted. I'm going to use the Cover FX Translucent Setting Powder in Light Translucent and a Real Techniques setting brush. Just mostly, as I said, underneath the eyes and the places that I highlighted. Okay, I'm taking the Ciate Bamboo Bronzer on a Sigma E40 tapered blending brush, just putting a little bit of that in my cheekbones and on my forehead and along my nose. And on a Luxie 660 Precision Foundation brush, I'm just going to blend that in. Again, we are going for a very natural look here, so really, really blend all the edges away and make sure that all looks seamless. Okay, I'm just going to take the tiniest bit of my Instain cheek stain that I used, I believe, last week. It's in the color Pinstripe. Just a little bit on an angled blush brush. Just a little bit because we are going to put a little bit more bronzer on. So let's not go too crazy with the color on the cheeks. Just a little bit to kind of give a little life to our cheeks. Alright, then we're going to go in with some of the Maybelline Master Strobing Liquid by Face Studio. It's the illuminating highlighter in the color 100 Light Iridescent. I'm just going to shake that up a little bit because the formula is a little pretty liquidy. I'm just going to squirt a little bit of that onto the back of my hand, and it's a really light, super, super shimmery iridescent color. I'm just going to take the tiniest bit on my middle finger here and just slightly tap that along the tops of my cheekbone on both sides. Just the littlest bit, because really a little bit goes a long way, as you know, with a lot of these highlighters. And I'm just going to slightly keep tapping that into the skin. And it's going to create a really, really beautiful sheen. I did get the color Golden, and I think that's the 200 or the 300. But I just feel like because my skin is just still a little bit fair, the lightest color looks the best. Maybe if I had like a super deep tan, I think it would look cool. Or maybe if you had extremely fair skin, then it would kind of pop up really golden. Okay, and you can do a little bit on the chin. I just have extremely oily skin, so I skip my chin. You can really even amp it up even further and put a little bit of a powder highlight on top of that. I was going to, but now that I'm looking at it, I think I am quite shiny enough. But if you don't have oily skin like I do, definitely feel free to put any, powder highlight. I've been using recently the NYX Duochromatic Illuminating Powder in Snow Rose, and I also had the e.l.f. palette for a while that I really liked. Moving on now to the brows, let's just first brush them through. And a new product I got just a few days ago that was like really cheap but really awesome that I didn't even know about was the Maybelline Brow Define and Fill Duo. It has like a powder end and a pencil end. Haven't used a lot of powders on my eyebrows before, but I feel like this is just such a more natural look. I've been using it especially to fill in kind of the front of my brow, because even though I like the front to look a little bit more natural, I find that I end up filling it in so much just because I have a little bit of sparse areas. But the powder is so much more natural. You can use it kind of throughout the entire brow, and I feel like it lets you build a little bit more versus a pencil. You're kind of committed to a fairly full brow. Alright, and I'm just going to set that in place with the Benefit Gimme Brow in number 3, or you can use a clear brow gel as well if you already have a level of darkness that you want for your brows. Alright, those actually end up going a little bit darker than I necessarily wanted, but we're just going to keep moving on now. I'm going to use the Smashbox X-Rated Mascara. I believe this is waterproof, and you can just generously coat that on your eyes. If you have really, really sparse lashes, you can go ahead and use falsies, but again, this kind of is a lighter, more of an everyday look, and if you're going to be especially like outside, you want something that looks a little bit more natural, so you might want to skip the falsies. Or if you, again, really need them, maybe just put in a few individual lashes. Alright, so let's just bronze up the skin a little bit more. I'm going to take that same Luxie 660 Precision Foundation brush and my Bahama Mama bronzer, and just really warm up on the places that I would naturally tan, so kind of where the sun naturally hits you. So kind of more on the tops of the cheekbones and across the nose. This will also kind of help us blend that highlight a little bit if it's looking a little bit too strong. on the forehead here. Just want the skin to look really warm and flushed, and the whole look to look really, you know, summery and bronzed. All right, and set that all in place with the Urban Decay DeSlick setting spray. For lips, I would go with something really simple. I'm going to use the Meet Matte Hughes in the color Sincere. It's just like a pink nude color. I would stick with something similar to that. I wouldn't really use a bright color unless you have like a really simple outfit, like say if you're just wearing mostly tan or black. But keep the lip real simple. Alright, so this is the completed summer barbecue or summer party makeup. It's perfect for outside because everything's really blended in and natural, so in the sunlight or outside you won't be able to necessarily see how much makeup you have on. Everything is really glowing and dewy, a lot of cream products, especially on the eyes, and it just really makes you look like your overall best self when you head to your next summer barbecue or party. Hope you have a great week. Please like and subscribe.